Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is from wherever you're watching us from. Thank you again for tuning in to Tony's Pod. My name is Anthony Mutubi. I'm your host, and I'm glad that you're here. Today is on the 6th, the 7th. Yeah, today we're on date 7, right? 7th of June. The year is the year of the Lord 2025. It's a great Saturday afternoon in the environs of Nairobi. The weather calm, not too hot, not too cold, just the perfect Nairobi weather. What a great time to be here. And we are here to share with you and to unpack some of Kenyan stories in the political and social scene that have been happening. And we pledge to give you one honest conversation at that time. Any events and occurrences that are quoted in this episode are based on what's happening as of now, that is the 7th of June 2025. Welcome, and let's tell the Kenyan story as it is, and let's move to wherever the conversation will lead us. Hoping. Today is a day that Riggy is still causing some sleepless night among the Kenya Kwanza government with these strategies on how to ensure that Kasongo is a one-term president. How has he done it? One, I really feel that Riggy is one of those politicians who bring a certain aura, a certain kind of energy that you can never expect from any other leader. Quite a few leaders are as charismatic as Riggy, and he uses his oratory skills to pull the masses. He will always pull the best shots, be it in an interview, be it in a rally, be it somewhere where he's talking to other leaders. Whichever context it is, he'll still perform well. If he's going to do the local shows, speaking to the local Mwananchi, whether in his Gikuyu language or speaking to the Kisii nation, he will always deliver. And as he was delivering, although he's not pregnant, as he was delivering, he decided to deliver a message to the Kamba nation, telling them that, hey, you guys, your cousins, nyinyi ni makuzo. And you know, actually kuna intermarriage mingi sana between Gikuyus and Kambas. Yani unataka kumaanisha makuzo anaoana, ndio maana Riggy wewe, I see what you're trying to say. Hebu tusikie venye alisema ati Wakamba ni makuzo. And ameisema to other people too, actually, to Mijikenda. Leo alikuwa anaongelesha Wataita Taveta. But listen into what he said.
Na nyinyi watu ya Makendo, watu ya Makueni, nyinyi na sisi watu ya Mulima, sisi ni cousins. Si ndio? Ata sisi ni nini? Cousins hai. Cousins hai.
So he goes ahead to say that Kasongo asiingililie mambo ya familia, asiingililie mambo ya ndoa. Well, I take pride in Riggy doing well in opposition. He's not my kind of leader. He's not someone I would elect because I feel I've seen one side of him that I would never want to be in a position of power ever again. However, as long as he's hurting the UDA people, I'm like, cheers, you are on our side. And if you are on our side, then we are trying to face the same enemy. We're trying to beat the same person. So let's beat him first, then we see how it goes. But in as much as he's doing well in opposition and he seems to be mobilizing the ground quite well and giving the Kenya Kwanza government sleepless nights, all I could remember is the double speak that this man has, because I remember he went to Ukambani while he was in government and he came about with his shares narrative and how he actually ridiculed Kalonzo a lot. I can remember how he used to ridicule Kalonzo. And this kind of ridicule, in as much as alikuwa anaifanya time alikuwa gava, I still feel in as much as they are working with Kalonzo, he will always give those low blows and try to talk about Kalonzo. Unajua huyu Kalonzo kuna watu hawamheshimu. Walienda walimfanyisha interview. Sijui walifanya nini. Riggy will always come with that. And then you wonder, okay, we are working right now. Did you have to say that, given that we are on the same side? If I was Kalonzo, I would be so worried. Although I like the fact that I feel that Kalonzo is getting more active in politics, seems that he needed just a little dose of Riggy so that they can start working together or being more vibrant. I don't think the kind of aura that Kalonzo is pulling in this period is the kind of aura that he used to pull while he was with Raila. You can feel there's a revamp, and they are actually covering more places. They're actually covering more places with Riggy. Maybe it's because he's a sober man. He does not drink. I don't know. But whatever it is, as long as we try to get someone out of government, I like the way that Riggy has made it clear that it's a one term. No. When he talks about one term, he has made it look believable and made it like a movement. And now it's the word that is being spoken in people's mouth. And in politics, actually, perception is everything. Because before the one-term issue was raised, there was a psychological barrier that the propagandists who are pro-Ruto had put. I remember Senator Cherargei, I think it's Senator Cherargei, akiongea kwa bunge la mwananchi somewhere, and then he was saying that there has never been a one-term president. Are you expecting us tumetoka mashamba tukuje ati tunakuja kufanya one-term? Listen to this.
Kisha hakuna rais amewahi enda term moja Kenya. Hatutakubali kufunga virago Nairobi kuja reserve. Hapana. Ama mulitutuma sisi tuende Nairobi turudi nyumbani. Si tu lazima tuamali.
Okay. From this, making us believe that, or trying to put a perception, I don't believe in politicians a lot. So from putting in the minds of people that it's virtually impossible to have a one-term president, to Riggy changing the narrative to this.
Ni one term. Ni one term. Harambee. Wewe Kasongo. Wewe Kaongo.
One term. And it's been a trending thing. It's been put in such a way that even the people who are pro-government, they're actually having that word in their mouths. They're actually using it. And now, it reminds me of when Uhuru used the word tangatanga. And when he used the word tangatanga and referred to the then Ruto team as tangatanga, wakikuja kutangatanga huku. And then they took it and made it, they embraced the name, and it even became a movement, tangatanga movement. But now this time, there is now a difference with one term having the same effect as tangatanga. But while the other one was taken as an insult and was changed to become a compliment, I'm wondering if the government uses the word one term, if government officials use the word one term, then what does it mean? It means that they've embraced the name that Riggy came with. So who wins? Riggy wins. I'm not for Riggy, and I am just happy that with him out of government, it's kind of weaker. And Riggy is that kind of ex that I feel there were pertinent issues he had to get out of government. I also felt with the kind of words that he was saying, mambo ya shares nini. Of course, he had to be out of government. But have you ever been in such kind of a relationship where huyu mtu ukiwa na yeye ni shida, mkiachana na yeye ni shida nyingi zaidi, so you don't know whether to keep them or to get rid of them, because when you are keeping them, they are just like you're just feeling like you're taking some slow poison. However, you fear that the moment that you raise the issue of breaking up, then it will no longer be a matter of slow poison, but maybe it's a bomb. It's a bomb that will be coming on you. We've seen the crazy girlfriends who atakuja kwako avunje kila kitu. Crazy. So you know you're dealing with a crazy person, whether male or female. It's not gender specified, because I believe such things are not based on gender but on one's personality. Can one gender lean more than the other? Kinda. I don't know, but we would have to look at the numbers. But Riggy is that one kind of person who will always ensure that you are hurt, he will hurt you, whether it's on the inside or on the outside. I remember how he forced his way to become deputy president despite it having been voted, blah, blah, blah. And then Ruto comes and says that he's the one who elected him despite MPs or the officials of Kenya Kwanza then having a different opinion. Well, whatever happened, and we are not here to talk about that. But Riggy is doing a lot, and at the same time, he's having collateral damage. There are people who are along his way. He's just bulldozing them, and he's been doing a lot of damage to MPs allied to the Kenya Kwanza, especially in the Kikuyu region, in the Murima region, as he puts it. And he's trying to galvanize the mountain as much as he can. But I feel in as much as he does it so brutally. His brutal side of politics is just what I don't like about Riggy. Some of the people who have found themselves as Riggy's collateral damage include Gatondo MP, Gabriel Kagombe, Sabina Chege pia yeye alipitwa na yeye, but you feel that they are able to wage an opposition against Riggy, but how far would they ride against the wave? What will happen? Let's just wait and see. Also, Moses Kuria. So Moses Kuria was talking about how he's always slandered Riggy for going to UDA or for having an agreement to go to government without a party, without their own party. So Moses Kuria, being the wise man that he is, being the intelligent man that he is, intelligent is the right word. Wisdom is relative, I don't know. So, being the intelligent man he is, he didn't believe Ruto, so he had his own party. Hata kama haikuwa na watu wengi, lakini at least alikuwa na chama yake. Number two, sometime last year, he told Riggy to the face that had you gone to the government with your own party, it would have been easier for you. Alikuwa amemwambia ukweli. For me, that was a true point. Although, maji yakimwagika hayazoleki, right? So, there's a certain narrative that Riggy has come with in the mountain, and he's saying that any other party apart from DCP that is in the mountain, or that comes in the mountain, is pro-Ruto. And Moses Kuria says that I've been having my party even before this government was formed. So what are you saying? And to some extent, it's true. And I feel that Moses Kuria has a point. And as a person who is championing for democracy, I'm truly looking at it from the perspective of the more the parties there, the better. The more the leaders that we have, the better for us to have more variety. It's not him to tell people which party to join. Yes, people have the choice to join his party or not. And actually, when we go to vote, I'm not going to vote along party lines. I will look at the best candidate, the best possible candidate that I can get from whichever party it is. Mix and match, because I'm from Ukambani and there's always a narrative of kupiga suti. So in Ukambani, Wiper is the most popular party. So unasikianga Baito, nimuka hakuna suti. Toka hakuna, mtapiga suti. So kupiga suti is just like choose any, it's all Wiper. So kutoka kwa MCA, you choose the Wiper guy all the way to president. Well, there's that systematic way where you are saying that a party is grounded. This is the base of a party. This is the political base of a certain party. You have with ODM having their own bases. I feel we are headed to a political metamorphosis where we can choose our leaders not because of the regional party or the party that one is allied to, but trying to look at each party and the best person to represent you in each position. So, ni mix and match. For me, I would say it's time to change it. Have more variety, have more parties, and then maybe it will help us. So I don't like that Riggy's narrative. Yes, anatusaidia with the one-term narrative. It's really helping to make the movement real. But mambo ya kusema chama moja ndio iko in the Murima si yako. Murima mulipea Gachagua kweli? Mulimpe? We need more parties. Ndio pia tuweze tukue na variety ya leaders. More parties, even independents wakuwe wengi. Hiyo narrative ya Riggy siamini. Breakups got international. There was an international breakup from two guys. That's Trump and Elon Musk. Well, Trump's big, beautiful bill, it was big, it was beautiful. It led to a breakup between him and Elon Musk. So, again, that one ex mwenye kukaa na yeye ni drama. Kuachana na yeye, even more drama. Let's look at this relationship between Trump and Elon Musk. Elon Musk alikuwa anaenda na mtoi wake Oval House. Anasimama naye hapo, anacheza naye. You know, the psychological power games. You would see him trying to play those psychological power games. After all, I'm the richest man. I funded your campaign, so I've been given access. Actually, hata alikuwa amepewa funguo za White House. Alikuwa amepewa funguo. There was that handing over. Look at this video akipewa nini? Akipewa funguo.
I give it to Elon as a presentation from our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you. Okay. So, Elon Musk akapewa funguo. Unaimagine unapea dem funguo alafu mnaachana na mnakosana zile jauba ya. Well, now it's a full-blown war. It's Kong versus Godzilla. Let's see how it goes, because one is the most powerful man in America, and the other is the richest man in America. Well, value yake imeshuka after all these things. But let's see how it goes, because I feel this is more of a war of egos. It was not a matter of if it would happen. It was actually a matter of when it would happen. And when it happened, of course, we can see how it's going. He was just a political advisor. Then they created DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. And Trump alikuwa anakuja na kapawa so that he's going to cut spending, government spending, because if they don't cut the government spending, then the US government will get broke. Well, that led to a lot of shockwaves, including the budget cuts and employees losing their jobs because of some of the programs that the US government has been running in countries like, including Kenya and other countries that have actually benefited from US aid. But now he's fired. He's out of the Department of Government Efficiency, and he's having a lot to say. He's actually implicated Trump to the Epstein files, which he claims that the reason as to why the Epstein files have not been opened is because he's among the people implicated. Kama unashangaa Epstein ni nani? There was a rich man, a friend of Donald Trump, alikuanga anaitwa Epstein. Epstein was so rich that he had an island in the Jamaican Caribbean. You know, you have an island in the Caribbean, you have a lot of money. So this guy went to the Caribbean, bought an island, create a very wealthy home. I don't know how he rose from being a teacher to a great business mogul. And one of the things that even Trump said himself is that this guy had an appetite for young women. And since 2003 there was an investigation that kulikuwa na watu wanatolewa huko. And some of them actually spoke up. So the man was incarcerated and he died. It said that he committed suicide. So kulikuwa na hiyo, there was that or saga. And so what Elon Musk is trying to say is that Donald Trump amekalia hii story because they know each other. Well, since they know each other, Trump on his end had also some serious allegations to put on Elon Musk. And one of them was that yeye ni mulevi. What does he use? He uses a drug called ketamine. Ketamine is sio drug yenye ati inakupea vitamin. Ketamine is a drug that is it a stimulant or a depressant? Bwana sinikumbushe ile ketamine tulisema inafanya kazi gani?
Nilikuwa nimeconfuse na cat, so siku iangalia.
Yeah, sio cat tulisema iko na kadho cat something. Cadhian. No, wanasema it has hallucinogenic properties used medically for anesthesia, depression and pain management. Where? Bana inatumika kucure depression. Unakuwa how can you be depressed with all that money? Elon Musk. Inaweza kuwa unatibu depression bwana. Mimi najuanga depression inakujanga na kukosa pesa. Ukiwa na pesa mingi hivyo kweli unashikwa na depression. Anyway, so this guy was using this ketamine drug and it's actually said to have even affected his gallbladder because anazitumia kwa wingi as much as 20 a day. And actually he would advise the president while high on ketamine. So maybe he was not giving the president. He was giving. The president is like trying to say, this guy was giving me impaired judgment, bwana. This guy was giving me impaired judgment because he was high on ketamine. Well, ketamine is not an illegal drug in the US. It can be used for medicinal purpose. Although sasa, when you use it in the workplace, then it's illegal, right? Yes, it's illegal because it's like showing up to work while drunk. Literally, you wouldn't show up to work while drunk, right? So you should not also get to work while drugged on ketamine. Anyway, we're not talking about any other guy. We're talking about Elon Musk. Elon Musk, where did they begin this relationship with Trump? These guy Wekeleas are hoping $275 billion on Trump's campaign. This was immediately after the assassination attempt on Trump. $275 million. That's how much in Kenyan shillings? That's a whopping 35.5 billion. Yeye inaweza tupea barabara ngapi za kutoka Modagashe kwenda Gariseni, Tobo, Hawa? Tunaweza pata barabara ngapi Kenya? There are some people who are rich. Na mimi niko hapa tu nikachai na kunywa. Because that is what I can afford, chai ya mkono mmoja. Sina kitu ya kushika, sina mkate ya kushikilia hapa kando. Anyway, the God of money will locate us one day. So, we are still looking at the can of worms that is going to be opened between the two, because we know they know each other. And actually, Elon Musk has threatened to support other people apart from the Republicans, so people who are not pro-Trump in the next election. There will be elections next year, because with US elections they don't have like anti-elections zote at the same time. You will find that they are electing Congress people at a different time. Presidents, there's a way they do it differently, and at a different times for different positions. And I feel even as Kenya we would adapt that. Unakuwa maybe ile siku tuna elect MPs or tuna elect county leaders, MCA, the governor, and even maybe women rep. No, women rep ako kwa nini kwa national government. But it can be separated in such a way that we have an election date for the national government and an election date for the county government. Well, Kenya na zile sinema tunakuanga nazo, and actually the kind of budgets that we use or we spend for an election, scary. Anyway, the kind of breakup that we are witnessing with Elon Musk and Donald Trump, we hope that we are just going to be seeing more can of worms being opened, just as we saw with Riggy and our very own Kenya Kwanza government. We just want the cans of worms to be opened. But now, there's actually one breakup that I always look up to. I don't know if it's a breakup or I'll always be proved wrong over time. You know, there are people who speak the same language. They've worked together. They understand each other so well that they partnered. Hey bro, you're gonna be the political face of this duo that we are going to create. I will play behind the scenes. Let's work together. We've done a few projects together, but I feel it's time we do business together. Let's grab this power. Let's go for it. You're a genius. Mi sijasoma sana, but I got the brains. I know how to put everything in order. Why don't we work together? I would have really liked to know what conversation these two guys had, from the humble beginnings that they had to clinging power to the kind of heights that we are witnessing. Mugala muwe na haki yake umpe. I mean, how many of you have friends who you've done things together, whether good or bad, and they are so successful over a period of time? Munagonga miaka mbao, miaka 30 with the same business partner, conquering markets, conquering whether it's politics, whatever it is that you're doing, but you're conquering, like these two. I'd really like to know what conversation they had, and what would happen when you have someone who you work together for that long, like 10, 20 years, and then you finally come to Kosana. How does it look like? You know, there are these beefs like Riggy versus Ruto. We know they hadn't worked for long, in as much as they had known each other for quite a while. They hadn't worked for long. But what's the experience with people who like can't see each other eye to eye, and they've known each other for quite a while? I know who was your clan day. I know who was your first ex, who was, you have all the nitty gritty details of this person. What would happen mkikosana? Would they go opening the can of worms? Ama mtakuwa zile za tumetoana mbali kama mchanga ya choo. Let's hide for one another. Let's cover for each other. I don't know. But I feel a friendship, all friendships should stand the test of time. And there's a certain time frame that urafiki ikifika it's hard to break, right? Well, let's discuss friendships. Moving on swiftly to another interesting story is our own governor for Siaya, James Agri Orengo. We witnessed a Damascus moment for him, from ruthlessly whipping the broad-based government to coming back and praising the government for its initiative, including one of the major government projects about SHA. Governor Orengo is actually happy with how SHA is performing in Siaya County. I'm like, wow. Now those, hao ndio wako kwa ground, wao ndio wanajua kama SHA inafanya ama haifanyi. Sio nyinyi. Governor knows way too well that SHA is working. And he was actually speaking when they had a meeting with the president in State House. I remember there was an issue that I had covered earlier on. You can try to check out that video where Orengo had tried to oppose the broad-based government and this issue of ATO, you have to go to State House for development. He had said, we are not begging for this, it's our right, we are taxpayers. And me, I was there all saying, yes, Orengo bwana, that is the spirit. We should not be going to kneel down. They don't kneel down to us when they are taking our taxes, do they? No. Kama ni tax unalipa cha lazima. Sasa mbona hiyo ikifika kwa maendeleo mbona tuombe? Valid reasoning. Well, alionyesha mkate and now he's back whipping the broad-based government drums. And what does he say? It's working. They are strategizing, they are working, and he actually thanks the president for its support. Well and good. I hope it helps his country, but it gets me worried because there was a revelation that got me out there. Of course, with people, with politicians experiencing Damascus moments in Kenya, that's not something new. It's not something that would be a headliner. It's something that we've already witnessed for quite a while. We can see it with Riggy. Riggy was in government and he was saying, oh, penye gava iko sawa nini. Orengo has been in opposition, in government. Actually, remember, he was among the lawyers that were pushing for Riggy's impeachment. Kiasi, he's not talking, he's not in the same page with the broad-based government. Then again, he's back. Remember, this is in less than a span of, is it a year? A year is not over because Riggy was impeached sometimes in September, right? I can't remember. I don't have the dates right. But during that meeting, there was actually one revelation that our number one said. What he said of how the broad-based government has actually enabled the privatization of sugar mills. Well, he said this is something that he had actually tried to implement even while he was still the minister for agriculture. Since he was minister for agriculture, when was that? Kuni 0809 or 070809 na huko. Those years to now, 2022, because he's always been in government. He was a deputy president. Before deputy president, he was a minister until he was kicked out of government. Then akarudi akiwa deputy president, he's now president. So he's saying that this thing was a dream that he had, has taken well over 10 years. It's more than 10 years actually. Because if alijaribu akiwa agriculture, it's well over 10 years. It's well over 10 years. Almost around 13-15 huko. So hiyo miaka yote amekuwa gava. He's tried to do this thing, it hasn't been working. But once they had the broad-based government, when they had the broad-based government that was enabled, listening to what he had to say.
We would not have done the leasing of our sugar mills. Something we have been trying since I was Minister for Higher Education, since I was Minister for Agriculture in 2009. But it became possible because of broad-based.
It's the justification for me. So, the privatization of the mill happened. The privatization of the mill was enabled by the fact that those people who would be seeing Raila saying, don't do this, let this not go through, nini, they go to Baba and then he says, no, this is okay. So, the privatization process happens so easily. It's like, let's push it through. But there are still pertinent questions to ask about the privatization of the mills. I had actually asked this question and I wondered because when our president was saying mambo ni matatu, it was actually in regards to these sugar mills. Talking to the same guy who had been given this mambo ni matatu, these three options, had been given the ultimatum of it's either you do this or do that or do that. You all remember, I'm not going back to that. But now, there happens a Damascus moment and the narrative has changed. So this guy gets the Nzoia sugar mill less than a month or a month or two ago. It's been trending. I hope you can all remember. But I had actually tried to talk about that story, tried to review it because I was wondering how is it happening that one can lease a parastatal for 30 years. I did a wonder. And apart from that, pia napata the kiwanja. And was wondering why would someone be controlling the majority of the sugar? Why would someone have the majority share of the sugar industry? Because sugar is a fast-moving commodity that every household uses. Hakuna mtu, sijui kama kuna mtu kwao ati kila mtu akona diabetes. There's none of them that uses sugar. Well, maybe less than 1%. If every household is using sugar, then how much money does this guy make on the typical Kenyan breakfast? How much money does he make? Well, crazy money, right? But now, our president actually claims that this enabling was actually actuated by the fact that there's the broad-based government. So with the broad-based government, it's easy for things like privatization to come through, but I'm wondering at what cost? Who stands to lose? So let's see and let's wait and see how it goes, because I'd actually predicted that and said maybe this thing went through because right now the opposition is in government or Baba is in government. Well, I'm vindicated. I was right. Check out that video over there. You'll see I asked that question. And I said maybe because there wasn't any clear information. A prophet is not recognized in his own village, his own home. The next story is in regards to the king of Tawe movement, Natembea Himuserufu. Natembea believes that there are some people who are being used to crucify him. And he actually fired at the chair of the Senate Committee for Agriculture, Bungoma Senator Wafula Wakoli. He was firing at him, and he made some serious allegations that the reason that he was called to the Senate Committee to try and explain more about his Fukuzanja seedling initiative, which claims to have been having issues. He says that the issue is not about how he's working as a governor, or the issue is about having irregularities in the project. However, he says that it's because that there are certain people who are actually trying to bring witch hunt, trying actually to crucify him politically, using the Senate Agriculture Committee. And he actually quoted Wafula Bikoli informing the speaker and the people in a certain function huko kwa Waluya, somewhere in Bungoma, saying that that when Jesus was being crucified, the people who were crucifying him crucified the wrong person. And instead of crucifying Barnabas, the thief, they crucified Jesus. He actually went ahead and used the same biblical allusion to insinuate that Natembea is the proverbial Barnabas. He claims that Barnabas is in Trans Nzoia County, and that they are going to use the Agriculture Committee, which he chairs, against him. Well, you better watch your mouth. You better watch what you say. What are your thoughts? Watch your thoughts. Keep them for yourself, because Natembea came with that allegation and said that then, if this is the chair of the committee and this is what he said against me, and I feel that these are really serious allegations, so why would he chair? I'm ready and willing to help the Senate do its job, but there can never seem to have some kind of compromise, conflict of interest. So what ended up happening was that Tom Ojenda, the senator for Kisumu, took over the reins in regards to this matter from Wafula Wakoli, and now they are the ones to actually listen to whatever happened and whatever transpired. We are waiting here. We are always waiting to commentate. We are always waiting to see what happens, because Kenyans' politics, ain't it one long circus that we always enjoy? We are just here to see how it goes. And Natembea seems to be causing some serious headache to some of the big wigs in the Western region. Let's see. And he said that these people are coming to him as a man, and he's come to face them as a Bukusu man, because even the person who is trying to crucify is a fellow Bukusu. Well, Wabukusu, muna surupi sana, mnataka kutundika wetu miserapani kwa nini bwana? Hiyo kitu msifanye, msikubali bwana, pana tenganisho na mambo kitoko. So in one of the stories that has hit the headline this week has been about one popular content creator called Sabato Sauti Ground. Well, Sabato Sauti Ground has come to the realization that, hey, kwa ground, vitu ni different. Leo, watu watakutreat, wakupigie makofi, wakuambia, hey wala, umefanya kazi nzuri, kesho waseme, sasa wewe, kazi yako ni ya ushebedu, kazi yako ni ya kifedhule. Sabato Sauti Ground has been doing a lot of musical content review, trying to bash content creators in Kenya. You know, those people who critique, and they have, I feel that, yes, I'm also doing the same thing that Sabato was doing. Sit behind a boring wall, have a lot of stories to say, nobody knows about you, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But him, he was doing music, me I do politics, so different fields. Good readers, my brother. And I wish you well in whatever you are doing. But I didn't really subscribe to his kind of content. Why? I feel even if you are criticizing someone, it should not look like negative criticism. It shouldn't look like personal. You can criticize someone. You can come up with an idea, try to do it without being negative. I'm a firm believer in the fact that you don't have to be rude to be understood. You can speak about something bad in a good way. Yes, whatever you are speaking about is something so bad. It's a rape case that has happened. But you put it in such a good way that it won't feel bad. It's never about what you say, it's actually how you say it. Someone will actually forget what you did to them, but they will never forget how you made them feel. It's the emotional part of it. So, as usual, Kenyans will support content, however negative it is. I feel that Sabato had a few notes to borrow from our very own Kibe. Kibe, who actually used to have good content, but would it have to be put in such a negative way? Would it have to feel like it's just full of bile? Iko na ka bitterness fulani, iko na ka uchungu fulani. Mtu anashanga like, who at you? You know, Kibe actually had a show alikuwa anaita Who at Your Club. I'm wondering, who at you? Why would you put all this? Why would you choose hurt? Okay, it's his own choice, it's his content, but bana, should it taste like bile? Shouldn't taste like biles, bwana. Sisi twakujia good vibes, wewe bwana watupea bile. It's not good. And Sabato was actually giving bile to a lot of content creators, and I actually felt bad. It's unfortunate sikuwa nimeanza kupiga mdomo sana huku online. But I watched what he had said about Bien, Otile, Bensol, Major, Saru. He really said quite a number of things that really hurt. Zilikuwa zinasema mimi nasikia, yeah, no, you're not being fair, Sabato. And actually, as he was saying it, he ended up hurting a lot of people because, for one, I remember he was talking about Bien. There's a time he was talking about Bien, venye anachocha wasanii nini, of how Bien should not be managed by his wife. Unaingilia story ya watu wengine kwa nini? Hiyo ni story yake na familia yake. Bien has been in the musical scene since enzi za ngoma mingi sana, like I remember when they were starting Nikupeleke Java, Lazizi song, since Lazizi song days to Soma. Like, when mtu amekuwa kwa industry for long, ameifanya, ameielewa. Actually, come to think of it, there's this cancel culture that is trending in Kenya right now. But I think kina Bien na Sauti Sol actually ndio walikuwa among the first people to experience the cancel culture. Because there was this song walitoanga Nishike, and actually wakaenda waka hit gym for like 3 months ndio kuja watoe hiyo vida. And then they get this sexy vida. Oh, Nishike. And Chimano and his bass, the beat ilikuwa tu beat moja mbaya. I actually like the kick, the bass ya hiyo the Nishike song. It has a really nice bass line, a romantic. You can imagine the number of people who've gotten laid well because of a song like Nishike. Alafu wewe maybe haujawahi get some good loving with the Nishike song in the background. Unakuja kuingililia umse hiyo ngoma alikuwa ameikataa, but ikatrend Nigeria and he was doing so well in it. Then he has been in the industry, he is shining home and away. Instead of kumpigia makofi, you are here bashing him, saying ati yo sijui anafanya nini, anavuta nini. Hata akivuta sini yake, akiharibu kichwa sini yake inaharibika. Ati sijui Bensol hajatoa video ya ngoma fulani. These things are strategic. These are people who sit down and strategize with whatever kind of strategy that they have in their music production. These are serious people. Now, wako na a serious label behind them. Now, I actually didn't know that Sabato had tried music. He had actually tried it, and maybe haikumwendea fiti. I would not say whether his music is good or bad. That's up to you to judge. I'm a person who respects art a lot, because muziki ni kwanza ni kitu inaweza fanya ulie. Muziki ni kitu inaweza fanya ulie. And actually, even when it comes to art, even gathering the courage to stand in front of people to speak to them or to present whatever kind of art that you want to, unataka kuimbia watu, it's a nervous one. Everyone feels a little bit nervous. Hata mtu mwingine atakwambia mimi siwezi simama mbele ya watu. So actually gathering the courage to simama mbele ya watu and perform for them and pull good performances, then it's an act of courage that not many people will do. So apparently Sabato Sauti ya Ground alikuanga musician underground, ni underground musician, alikuwa tu underground huko, hakutokea. He actually did a collab with Jua Kali, post recently, and well, all the bile was justified, right? And Kenyans are a people who never forget. Being a people who never forgets, and internet being readily available, then Femi One landed into Sabato Sauti ya Ground's video. Akaiona, akaona wimbo zake, akajua naka ndio kamtu kanatunyorosha huku kanatuongelesha sijui nini. Then he ran with it. After running with it, quite a number of artists ran with it. There was this producer mwenye alimwekea beat, I think it's Vince on the beat if I'm not wrong, akamuundia beat na hiyo ngoma and talked about the thing and saying that this guy has been bashing me online and that I actually don't know him. Another one who did another funny thing was Calligraph Jones. The OG must be respected. The OG was respected. The OG was respected. Also, Bien had something to say. Actually, he laughed, and then I like how Bien put it, and he's saying that we actually do watch these things, and actually the advice that I have is that you should never take advice from someone who has never built anything. Ouch! That was a career-threatening tackle. But you know what? Referee waves play on. So Bien says that never take advice or criticism from someone who has never built anything. And it actually reminded me of time Jua Kali was critiquing Jogosh and saying, oh, Jogosh Abambi. Yes, you might be how consume your content yake. But when you're trying to put any argument, there are usually three requirements for any argument. That's the ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos, what you are saying, let me try to get that. Ethos, pathos, and logos. So you have to have the data. Do you have the logical? Are you logical in your argument? Do you have the numbers? Do you have numbers? Do you have verifiable information to try and tell what or try and justify your point? Second is credibility, ethos. Who are you? Tunakujuaje? What have you done? So then the third is pathos, emotion. Are you able to appeal emotionally to your audience and convince them? Well, happens that Sabato Sauti ya Ground hakuwa na hiyo credibility. That was part of his arguments, because we come to realize that the credibility yenye ako nayo ni ati alikuwa underground artist na hakuweza kutoka kwa ground, na ndio maana anaendelea kukaa hapo kwa ground. We are waiting to see what comeback he will have, and I feel that yes, the musical industry inaweza kukataa, or it can be a little bit difficult, but the industry is wide. We need proper musical blogs in Kenya. We need a top 10 show yenye watu wanapost. We need reaction videos za ngoma without having kuingilia chenye msee anakula, chenye anafanya na familia yake, decision yenye amemake na management yake, producer mwenye anatumia. That's none of your business. Actually, one of the things that hurt me most was venye alikuwa anaingilia Otile bana. You know, if there are some musicians in Kenya who've taught whom have actually learned the art of consistency from, ni wenye alikuwa anapiga sana. Femi One tulianza kumsikia lini? Femi One has been rapping kutoka akue mtoi. Bien, since watoke high school wamefanya hiyo Sauti Sol, a whole journey together, created memories for us, made our name known in Africa and beyond. The whole world now knows Bien. Who doesn't know Bien, by the way? Are you the only new one in Jerusalem? Then there are also, there's also, I talked about Bensol. Bensol, we remember, is on and off. At a time fulani alikujanga akagonjeka akatoka kwa industry akarudi. These are some of the details that I feel if I had a musical pod ningekuwa nafanya, but vitu ni mingi za kufanya, masaa ni machache. Sabato, si you change tu content yako ikue, it's not negative, but it's things that you can take up brother to brother. This I'm coming to you brother to brother. Hizo ni vitu unaweza fanya. It's possible to do something positive, not necessarily music, but you're still within the musical industry, because ukiona mse alikuwa na research about this musical industry, then it means ile mse alikuwa fan. Alikuja mimi mahali aliguza Mlima ni kuguza Otile Brown. Whatever he had to say about Otile Brown, sijui ati ngoma zake azibambi nini, that's up to you. For me, I like Otile Brown's music. I like his vocals. He's a good vocalist. Take nothing from him. Na tuliposikia ngoma za Sabato, hatusemi ngoma ya Sabato ni mbaya, lakini Sabato hawezi shinda Otile vocals. Umesikia? Hawezi shinda Otile vocals. Kwanza wewe ushaisikiza ile album ya Otile inaitwa Grace, ali-release last year. Wewe ushaisikiza hiyo album yote kutoka ngoma 1 hadi ngoma namba 15. Ilikuwa ngana ngoma 14 lakini akaongezea ngoma ya 15 kama bonus. Kwa hiyo album, okay, I can't be Sabato by the way, I can't speak like him. Kwa hiyo album akona ngoma na akona collabo na Barakale Prince, akona collabo na Rivani, akona collabo na Nameless, akona collabo na Eddie Kenzo, akona collabo na Morgan Heritage, akona collabo na Femi One, akona collabo na Budros, akona collabo na kuna jamaa fulani wanaija, I'm forgetting, Banks, Ricardo Banks. All the work that ameput kwa your album, uende usikize hiyo album to fit, and the kind of variety that anapeana hadi kwa beats. Kwanza there's one, kuna ngoma fulani hapo hivi kuna some really nice piano sound, and Otile, of course, when beats come to him, you know what they do? They get a whipping. So I feel there's a lot that one can do. You don't have to be rude to be understood, Sabato, and these other, and all of us who are trying to create content. Hata kama una express kitu mbaya in society or in the whatever industry umeona, whether it's in politics, society, you can always do it, but it doesn't have to sound so bad, so brutal. Ina sound iko na machungu, iko na issues. You can do it in a good way, can't you? Sabato, we hope to see a Damascus moment in you. Well, that wraps up our today's conversation on the Toddy's Pod. Thank you for tuning in, listening to me. Please remember to subscribe, share, comment. You can also share this content to someone who you believe would enjoy such kind of content. Take care of yourself, your community, and your country. And until next time, see you.